cases, and we have 83,000 deaths. Okay, now you go to Spain, Russia. Russia's catching up with us in terms of the amount of people that have it, but not the amount of deaths. But you keep going down the list, and you notice on this list we do. Oh, there's India, 77,000. So they're still not even close to us, and they have 1.3 billion people. Those are all friends of ANKIT, but they only have 77,000, and you have to go way down to find Malaysia and Australia. I mean, ANKIT has to scroll down, way down to find Malaysia and Australia. Where the heck are they? Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Where's there? Wait, there it is. Australia. Look at this. Australia 6,000 with 98 deaths, and Malaysia 6,000 with 111 deaths, and they both have 20 million and 30 million respectfully, and they don't have hardly any deaths or problems like that. Dr. Yoo has just joined us from California. Maybe Dr. Yoo can shed some light on why is Malaysia and Australia. We have Willie Hill from Australia, Reynes from Malaysia. We have Mark from the United States. Dr. Yoo's in the United States, but Dr. Yoo, why is it that we are getting slaughtered on the coronavirus and Malaysia and Australia are just beating the pants out of us?
I have this saying, okay? So in the US, and this is kind of worldwide, but more so in the US because our media is more manipulated. If there's no news, there's no virus. I'm sorry, but if there's no news, it would be business as usual. Because how many people died of the influenza virus in the US last year? What, 30 to 60,000? And what about coronavirus, right? Not even close. And I heard a lot of doctors are being told on the death certificate of these supposed patients who died of coronavirus. Let's say they died of a heart attack or pneumonia, and they're like 80, 90 years old. They would test them for coronavirus after they died, and if they're positive, oh, they died of coronavirus. That doesn't say they died of coronavirus. They said they died of a heart attack. They may have been infected. It doesn't mean the coronavirus caused the death. So the stats, I think, are very inaccurate. They're manipulated. They're designed to put fear. So we have to shut our businesses down, which is crazy. I hate when they say in the news, oh, there's going to be a second wave. We got to lock down more. And that's going to cause more problems. Because we should be outside, relieving stress, getting vitamin D from the sun. We need to get herd immunity.
Dr. Yoo, this is Mark here, over there in North Carolina, and that's where Duke is as well, Duke University. But I'm wondering, do you think that part of what's going on is that people are making too much of a parallel to the Spanish flu, which happened years ago? It was the last time we had the pandemic. So I just wondering, are you thinking that people are making too much of a parallel between that? And also, I'm kind of wondering along the lines of what you're saying about the triage units that have been popping up. I know the big Med, which is in Raleigh, just took theirs down. I think Duke may still have theirs up, but it sounds like they're preparing for it in a lot of cases that may or may not happen.
Well, also, I think the testing methods are highly inaccurate. Like right now, the golden test is the PCR, the nasal nucleotide test, where they put the cotton swab to the nasopharynx, the beginning of your throat, and they'd send it to a lab, and they would test you if you have a colony of the virus. Well, what if you have a colony of the virus in another part of your throat, or maybe it's already down your throat, or it's in your mouth? So unless you're swabbing the whole nasopharynx in your mouth and throat, you're going to miss other colonies. So you may have a false negative. If you do the antibody test, which I think it's a more systemic test, because if you have the virus, it'll be in your blood, and they prick your blood, they put it in the testing cassette, they use a reagent to break it down, and it tests if you have IgM. You have IgM antibody. That means you got a recent infection. You're contagious. You got to self-quarantine. If you have IgG, that means you've been infected more than a few weeks ago. And if you're asymptomatic, you've developed immunity. You can donate your blood, plasmapheresis. You can go out and work. If you're IgG and IgM, that means you've had it for a while and you're still infectious. You should quarantine. I think maybe doing BEST is a better way to test, but again, they're not 100% accurate, but it gives you a general idea. Choosing between PCR, nasal swab, or antibody. I like the antibody. It's a more general consensus of what's going on systemically. All right. Does that make sense? So I think that just because you're tested doesn't mean it's accurate.
And Dr. Yo, the other thing that I've been seeing a lot of people being concerned about is the whole concept of just a regular cold. I mean, because of everybody having to wear the mask, having to wear this or that, if you're just out and about and you're out in a normal environment, maybe at your shop, maybe or wherever, if you just have a simple sneeze, everybody starts looking at you because they're worried that you may have it. So that's also becoming an issue. People are like, take it too far that you may have a regular cold that we all suffer from on a regular basis.
All right, so you're wearing a mask, all right, and if it's brand new, if it's an N95 mask, it's going to prevent 95% of pathogens going inside and out, right? But you're breathing in, you're breathing in your own, things you're breathing out, and it could be bad stuff. So you could be infecting yourself if you don't disinfect the mask or change it. You could be causing more respiratory problems with the mask if it's not sanitized, ironically, and you're not getting enough oxygen in, and you're not making nitric oxide if you're not a nose breather. So people have to be taught, if you're going to wear it, to use it wisely. Don't have it on all day. But again, like I said, no news, no virus. It's going to be business as usual.
Oh, well, it's good.
What do you think of, sorry, last question, what do you think about this whole concept of social distancing? Because like I said, that seems to be the big thing here in the States. Everybody wants to stay 6 feet apart from each other. I am actually of the belief that we as humans are social beings. So that's hard to do on a regular basis. I mean, I think we've done a good job of that, staying away, but we regret it. We kind of get frustrated with it. But we as humans like to get out and socialize. I mean, I've got friends that would love to play a pickup game of basketball, or I was actually, the lady that drops off my produce box, she was just telling me that she's trying to figure out how her kids are going to play soccer. They can't play soccer right now because of the physical distancing rules.
It's crazy. You're not going to live a risk-free life. You could just as easily be infected by the influenza virus, right? If you're shaking hands, but that's the risk. It's not going to kill you. A certain percentage will die, but they're 80 or 90. They got comorbidities. They got diabetes, heart disease, or cancer. I hate to be crass, but they're going to go anyway soon. But it doesn't mean that the rest of Americans or wherever you're at has to stay home if you're young and healthy. The bottom line, if you have a strong immune system, that's the best protection.
Yes,
but your immune system is in your cave all day. You're going to get rickets. It's a bone disease the Neanderthals had because they didn't get vitamin D from the sun.
Reddy, you're smiling. Where are you from, Reddy?
Hi, I'm from Delhi, India.
Delhi, okay. And what do you do?
I currently lead an initiative called COVID India Task Force.org, and this works pan India to protect our doctors, frontline healthcare workers, police folks, in all kinds of ways with PPEs, with medical equipment, and also supports our government war rooms. We currently support 7+ states in India with respect to at least identifying and helping them connect with 150+ solutions which are helping the government fight COVID. And these solutions are in every particular category, from tele ICU to various solutions, kind of various inventions. I think every single invention, the sheer diversity of inventions I've seen in the last 4 weeks as well. In fact, our next demo day is tomorrow, and every Thursday, every week Thursday, 8:30 p.m. IST, we have a demo day. We present 30 plus solutions, tracks ranging from logistics to PPEs to manufacturer inventions to UV disinfection, robotics, drones, IoT, contact tracing, help desk, it's been quite interesting to see.
Hey,
Well,
So we
Rita, this is Mark again. Dr. Yo was talking about the fact of the media outlets and everything and how they've been covering it. I'm just curious, India been giving it as strong a coverage, and does that impact the way that y'all are treating it? Because I've actually heard good reports. I think Nick even mentioned that India is not tracking as many cases as we are here in the States. Like I said, I'm here in Durham, North Carolina.
if that was for me, I only caught every third word. I'm really
yeah,
sorry.
you're breaking up, Mark.
Yes.
I'm saying
Now, a little bit. Maybe that's a little bit better. Hope that's a little bit better. But what I was saying is there's much media coverage in India as there has been in the United States. Because, like I said, here in the United States, as Dr. Yo was just talking about, every time you turn it on, it's in the news. So I'm asking, are y'all getting that same kind of coverage, and is that impacting the way that y'all are treating what's going on?
That's a great question. I know Ankit is also from Delhi, and he can kind of add to that as well. My sense is, of course, there is media coverage because wherever we have a free press, and the US and India have that in common for sure, that becomes an independent entity. And I do believe, however, that at least from what I have seen, I've seen extreme positives come out of the media coverage as well. Of course, there are aspects where sometimes because of media coverage certain aspect ratios of probabilities are skewed in the minds of watchers, so they might think that everyone will die. They might think the probabilities are slightly skewed in terms of what the negative or worst case situations could be. But that said, I've also seen a lot of media cases and stories on the positive, on people who've kind of done the right thing, on patients who were model patients, or on aspects like let's not stigmatize those who cough in grocery stores. I think I've also seen a lot of journalists work overtime as volunteers to be able to surface on the ground stories. Stories where in some sense bottoms up data collection is very important, because in a country as vast as India and as diverse as India, where such a rapid response is happening top down, but at the same time what's happening in one particular village in one state versus another tier 3 city in another state, are the guidelines being able to be correctly enforced, or is there unintentional police brutality on the ground, right? Is there unintentional inefficiencies on the ground? Is there unintentional hunger, malnutrition, or sort of like abuse of power happening on the ground? I know one case, a particular city had decided that everybody entering that city would be bathed in bleach forcibly. So there are lots and lots of misconceptions. Exactly, right. And because education, I think, as Mark, you and Dr. Phillip said, education is what's important. And that's also what's lacking, because at a mass level, if anything, currently there's a bunch of very amazing startups working on, exactly, so working on an Apna Desh Apna Mask campaign, which roughly in English translates to my country, my mask. But they are using media to be able to educate as many people as possible. So that way, I would say, as an independent entity, of course, everything has both sides it can go on, but till the day the positive helps.
Yeah, and I was wondering
Yeah.
about that because, like I said, around here, in the United States, we get a lot of people. Nick was just actually making a reference to our president who thought that everybody should swallow cleaners and things of that nature. That was his solution. That was what everybody should do. Everybody kind of laughed at him, but then again, a lot of y'all around the world laugh at him for a lot of reasons and a lot of different things. But that's neither here nor there. But I am wondering, do we sometimes get too caught up with the whole concept of the cleanliness aspect? Because I do know that some people are concerned about, yeah, they don't mind going to the bathroom and washing your hands to do that anyway, just in general. But then they're seeing like folks that are maybe become a little bit obsessive compulsive, and they're feeling like they need to clean off every surface, not just the surfaces that are high surfaces like the computer, your doorknob, the ATM machine. But I know some people around here that might be trying to do, spray down the entire house once or twice a week, and I just wonder if that might be taking it a little bit too far.
Yeah, if you're too, people in the U.S. There's a lot of people are getting toxic. They're getting poisoned by too much bleach. Too much, and they're inhaling it, right? And so yeah, there is a point where you're too sterile. I mean, if you wash your hands too much, the natural microbiome, the good bacteria, if you wash that out, you have no innate natural immunity. So 80% of your immune system is actually in your intestines. Actually, it's your whole mucosa, starting with the mouth, the throat, pharynx, stomach, GI tract, all the way down to your bowels. Is all your mucosa. And if you don't have a strong, healthy microbiome, then yeah, you're going to be susceptible to get an infection. So the best way is to keep your microbiome healthy. 80% of your immune system's in your mucosa, the gut, everything. So, but you don't hear about this. You just hear about, oh, just take this drug, take remdesivir. It wasn't even invented for this coronavirus. It's for another virus, or hydrochloroquine, which is for malaria, not this. And now they want to come up with a vaccine without testing. They just want to rapidly approve it without safety studies. How does India feel about vaccinating the whole population?
1.3 billion people. What are we going to do
about that?
Rudy, you seem very happy. So the thing is, I guess you don't have it. You have a beautiful smile. You're all happy. People are dying all over, but you're happy.
Rudy, is that something you guys do? The corona vaccine?
Sorry. So it's very interesting Mark said that, because I was smiling considering suddenly I'm on this platform a spokesperson for 1 billion people, which is never going to happen, right? I think I can't comment for what India feels about it, but do we have a shortage of testing? Yes. Are we trying to figure out this testing supply chain? Yes. Are we also trying to figure out, from what I understand, and I'm not a medical expert, I'm just an entrepreneur who is, currently kind of trying and making things happen. But from what the experts teach me, there are reagent-based tests, or RT-PCR tests, and then there are aspects in the testing supply chain which do become the constraint factors. And I know that anybody who supplies those components of it, all the supply is being diverted towards the US, in fact, even from China and from other countries. So I think that has led to a bunch of innovation domestically with respect to whether it's non-reagent-based RT-PCR tests, whether it's respect to, again, I am seeing a bunch of innovation come up in testing. Not a medical expert and hence unable to comment on it specifically. But on a domestic perspective as well, because a vaccine, I think everyone understands it's fairly far away. And in fact, our government, from whatever I understand of ICMR, has taken a stance that they want to be over careful. To give an example, private universities, unlike in the US, which have gotten CABL exemption, if I'm not mistaken, they haven't gotten the equivalent NABL exemption in India. And so, because, they are BSL2 certified, but they're not at a certification level which can be conducting COVID-related, clinical trials, etc. So there are a couple of distinctions, and every single time, of course, the private sector is pushing for it. I have heard folks in the government be able to at least say that they are trying to be very careful with respect to the certification and testing. Of course, that is a double-edged sword as well, because I'll also have that, with respect to, for example, every single time a manufacturer needs to be, let's say, L1 or now L2 certified to be able to deliver some of these